My childhood best friend vanished without a trace after an argument in the woods. 15 years later, I got a friend request from her account, and what I discovered after her messages changed everything. When I was 9, I had a best friend named Clara, and we were inseparable. We spent every waking hour together building forts, making up silly games, catching fireflies in jars, and daring each other to wander deeper into the woods behind our houses. Clara was always the fearless one, the kid who wanted to explore just a little further, while I was the cautious tag-along who made sure the flashlight had working batteries before following her. One summer evening, we argued over something so small I can't even remember what it was anymore. Maybe who got the better popsicle or whose turn it was to carry the flashlight. Whatever it was, Clara got angry, stormed off into the woods on her own, and never came back. The whole town searched for weeks, with volunteers combing the woods, helicopters overhead, and dogs sniffing through every corner, but there was nothing. No footprints, no scraps of clothing, no signs of a struggle. She was just gone, like the forest had swallowed her whole. Her family eventually moved away, unable to bear the memories, and I grew up carrying the guilt that if I'd just followed her that night, maybe things would have been different. 15 years later, when I was 24, I was working a dead-end desk job and scrolling through Facebook on my lunch break when I saw something that made my chest freeze. A friend request from Clara. The profile picture was the exact same awkward school portrait she'd had when she disappeared, the one that had been plastered on missing posters all over town. The account had no posts, no friends, no information, just her name and that photo. I stared at it for a long time, trying to convince myself it was some sick joke, until a message popped up from the account. "I'm sorry I left you in the woods." The messages kept coming over the next few days, each one stranger than the last. "They don't let you leave if you follow the lights." "I shouldn't have gone first." "Don't answer if they knock." My hands shook as I read them, my chest tight with dread. I tried calling the number linked to the account, but it didn't exist. I tried running a reverse search on the email, but nothing came up. I wanted to believe it was a prank, but the words felt like Clara, like she was trying to warn me against all common sense. I drove back to my hometown that weekend and stood at the trailhead to those woods, my legs shaking as badly as they had when I was a child. The trees seemed darker, heavier, as though they were holding secrets. And then I saw it, a faint flickering light deeper in the woods, like a lantern swaying back and forth. My whole body screamed at me to stay back, and the last message echoed in my head. "Don't follow." I turned and ran back to my car instead of stepping toward it. That night, at the motel, I got one final message. "Thank you for not following. I can't leave, but maybe you can still be safe." And then the profile disappeared, deleted as suddenly as it had appeared. After that night in the motel, I told myself I should let it go, that maybe it was just a cruel prank, but I couldn't stop thinking about Clara. The messages felt too specific, too personal, and even if they weren't really from her, someone had gone to disturbing lengths to send them. I finally did what I should have done immediately and reached out to her family. Through some searching, I found her older brother Jason, who was in his 30s now. At first he didn't recognize my name, but when I explained who I was, he agreed to talk. That was when things started making sense in the worst possible way. Jason told me something the public had never known. On the night she disappeared, Clara had a cheap little flip phone her parents had given her, just in case. That phone was never found. Then Jason admitted that about 6 months before I got the Facebook request, he himself had received a blocked call traced back to that same number. He picked up, but all he heard was faint static and breathing before the call cut off. He assumed it was some cruel mistake, until I told him about the Facebook account. When I mentioned the profile photo, he went pale. He said it wasn't just some picture lifted from the internet. That exact photo had only ever been saved on his mother's old computer. Whoever created the account had access to files that weren't public. With Jason's help, I filed a report, fully expecting the police to dismiss it, but they took it seriously this time. Technology had advanced since 2003, and when they tracked the IP tied to the Facebook messages, it led not overseas or to some anonymous server, but to a small house just 30 miles from where Clara disappeared. Police got a warrant and searched the place. Inside they found an older man, late 50s, unemployed, living alone. His computer was full of disturbing material, not just news articles about Clara's disappearance, but folders of photos of kids from our old neighborhood, including me. Even worse, in a box in his garage, they found Clara's missing flip phone. When questioned, he denied hurting her, but admitted he had been obsessed with the case for years. At first, he claimed he only created the Facebook account to keep her memory alive, but then he slipped and said, "I just wanted her to keep searching." The police don't believe he was the one who originally abducted Clara, but rather someone who stalked and fixated on her and then on me. Either way, he's behind bars now on charges of unlawful possession and obstruction, and more evidence is being tested. The case has been reopened, and with modern DNA testing, there's more hope than ever. They even found preserved DNA under Clara's fingernails from back then, and it's currently being cross-checked in national databases. We still don't know where Clara is or exactly what happened to her, but for the first time in 15 years, there's movement instead of silence. For me, it feels like a heavy weight has been lifted. The guilt I carried for so long has eased, replaced by determination. Jason and I stay in touch now, and we've promised each other that we won't stop until we finally know the truth about Clara.